Father Innocent Nwafor, you are the postulator for the cause of beatification of Reverend Father Ekwu, now servant of God. Can you tell us what your job is as a postulator?
Yeah, thank you very much, Monsignor Jerome. My function as a postulator is to help the petitioner, and of course, the petitioner can be the people of God, but in this instance, for Father Ekwu, can be said that is our former bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Oka, Most Reverend Simon Okafor. Of course, it is the people of God who begins to speak after watching the life of a person who has died. Of course, we know that it has to take 5 years before ever this process is begun after the death of the person in charge. So my function as a postulator is to help the petitioner investigate or look into the life of the person that is concerned to see how his life, the person lived an extraordinary life of holiness and heroic virtues that is extraordinary. That means that a life that the grace of God has helped a lot to project for the people to emulate. So that is my function, to carry out inquiries and see if what the people are saying about a particular person is really true. And then after that, to make my findings known to the bishop. And also to help the people of God come to know more about this person. What is that thing that is extraordinary about this person that people are talking about?
Yeah, for some people, it doesn't really matter. This beatification, canonization, the church does. Some people say that who is in heaven is in heaven, and God knows who is holy. What is this process of beatification and canonization? How important is it?
Yeah, we know that human beings like to look forward to somebody to emulate. Even the children like to look to somebody to a model. The saints are like models for us Christians, people whom we are looking at how they live their life, a source of encouragement for those living. In any case, these saints, these people who are canonized, are normal human beings like any one of us, living a life of struggle, failing sometimes, but coming up again. So, and those, we can say that these are the people who have reached the goal of our Christian life. And those of us who are still on the journey, the Christians who are still living on earth, need a lot of encouragement to help them know that all their struggles are not in vain, that some people have reached where they are struggling, and it is a lot of motivation. So the saints are motivation for us, the Christians.
Yeah. Does the church make sense?
Wow.
Yes. That is, select who to canonize and go about doing it.
Well,
how are the saints chosen?
Yeah, okay. Making sense. I will say that the church does not make sense, because being a saint depends on how a person lives his life. This life of sainthood or holiness is lived. The church can carry out investigation to see if the life of a person meets certain required conditions, whereby if the life of a person meets this condition, they can declare, yeah, what the people are saying about this person is true. It is this declaration that is official. Maybe that's what is called making a sense, but it is not the church that makes this person holy. Because the person must, first of all, live the life of holiness himself, and then the church can declare, yeah, what the people are saying is really this extraordinary life of virtue and holiness, or in some cases, martyrdom. So in that sense, the church can only declare that the virtues that are being talked about the person is true. So it is a declaration, not that the church made this person a saint.
So in other words, that the church only recognizes and then makes known.
Makes known publicly.
Declare. But then before this recognition, it's not just something that the hierarchy does. It's the community of people of God. Those who live with the person, they come to testify, to give witness that this was a good man. And then the church inquires to recognize also the heroic virtues of this person. What makes this person extraordinary from the ordinary goodness of people? That really manifests the grace of God. Grace of God and the life of faith, hope, and charity. So I think this is what when the church says, it acknowledges and it declares. Huh?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
What are the contributions of saints?
Saints who are in heaven, or the people who are still living in the world, want to relate with this. Some people talk of they want their relative to be made saints, but they want people who to relate with, to pray for them when they are in difficulty. People from whom they can get encouragement that what I'm passing through now, especially in times of difficulty, problem, that some people have gone through this, and you look up to when this person has lived this and try to emulate the life of the saints, it becomes, the saint becomes source of encouragement for the people of God. And so it is this relationship of encouragement to the people of God, of helping them to know that their journey, all their struggle, their falling and rising is not in vain. Some people have lived through it before and succeeded, and so we can also live it and succeed too.
In other words, they bring heaven closer to us.
Exactly, exactly.
And they make the toys of this life bearable.
Exactly.
For the sake of God.
Exactly.
Yeah, the saints are meant to be heavenly friends. So how should we be relating with them? If they are friends, how should they really, relate with us in such a way that as friends, we are able to, pick up the inspiration they give, the model they are, and be able to beckon on them when we are in difficulty?
You put it rightly that they are friends. And we know that in normal life, two people who are in friendship cannot say that they are in friendship if they communicate, if there is no regular communication with one another, regular meeting now and again with one another. So, for the people of God, they require this personal relationship, talking with them, invoking them when they are in need, telling them about the journey they are making when they are having difficulties, or about their successes, and especially trying to find out from them how they managed or how they succeeded in going through what we are going. So there has to be a lively communication, a friendly communication. So that is what is basic, that we need to know about them, know about their life, try to emulate them, try to tell them the way it is with us when things are going well and so there needs to be a very close relationship between the living and the dead if we really mean that, if we really want to benefit from what they have achieved, or what the grace of God has achieved in their lives.
Are you saying that I should begin to look for friends from the saints?
Of course.
So that I can know if I'm a widow. That there are widows among the saints that can become my friend, that understand the situation I am, and not only to whom I can beckon, but also from whom I can learn how to live my widowhood.
A particular instance came into my mind as you asked this question, because when I was in the junior seminary, we used to have a young man who came into the seminary, and his name is Aloysius. And this man, he doesn't fail to tell the story of Aloysius. he said that I am Aloysius, and I've read a lot about St. Aloysius, how he went about helping especially those who are sick. And he said that he tried to do that when during the holidays. He used to visit his neighbors, and especially those who are sick. And he doesn't fail to pray for the sick whenever he visits, because that's what he read from the life of St. Aloysius. Christians, during baptism, we usually take the names of saints. And the essence of it is to learn about this, what makes this person a saint. To know that somebody with whom I'm bearing his name is already in heaven. And is so to develop a personal, close relationship with this saint, that I have somebody in heaven who is looking after me, who is caring for me, who wants to know how it is with me. And so that is the saint. This personal relationship, lively personal relationship, that gives me encouragement, that makes me know that I am never alone. It doesn't matter what situation is with me, that somebody is there watching and helping and caring for me.
Yeah, this brings me to issue of patron saint. What is this issue about patron saint? And how do we choose our patron saint?
Yeah, it's again about trying to, because you cannot choose a patron saint if you don't know what this saint is all about. What makes him who he is? In Austria, where I am, and the church where I am doing my pastoral is St. Martin. During the feast of St. Martin, children are brought out and they carry small lamps and walk the streets. And they want to do that which St. Martin is known for. Then they act a drama, how St. Martin, how he was riding a horse in a very cold winter time, and suddenly he saw a man who was very shivering from cold, and he jumped down from the horse, used his sword, tore his garment into, and you see that everybody, the children are already being taught to emulate St. Martin. So it is about what has this saint, for what virtue is this saint known, and then trying to make the children and of course the entire community to learn from this, so that the life of this saint will influence positively the people who take him for a patron saint. That is what it means to be, that this man is, we want to train ourselves into his virtue, to learn from his virtue, his life, what motivates him, so that his life will influence all of us, so that we can be acting like St. Martin in that instance. So patron saint is, again, a model for the group of people or a person who decides to take him as a model.
In other words, it's like supermarket, that in heaven we have varieties of saints.
Exactly.
Young and old, poor and rich, sick and even kings and all that matters.
Yeah.
But then we look at them, we see the one that appeals to us, maybe one that we can share with because of the situation we find ourselves. Yeah. So we begin to befriend him, and we find that this person has something to contribute to my life.
Exactly.
I need him. And that's how special friendship begins. Exactly. That's how, I begin to have him or her as patron. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. There are some people who say that this canonization and beatification is for Europeans. Africans are out of it, and hardly are Africans canonized. So is there politics about it? Is there discrimination?
Well, I don't see any discrimination. It all depends on what people take as their value. When you say that Europeans, they make them, it is because this is the way I see it. because they are very conscious about they take their own, they cherish their own. And it seems to me that for us Africans, I don't know whether that would be an exaggeration, sometimes it's difficult to cherish what is our own, to get people who are committed, who take it upon themselves to study more about this our own, and then to begin to talk about our own, to invest my time, invest my energy, invest my money also to say, yeah, this person lived this life and carry it through. Not just talking about, sometimes there is this Igbo adage that says that many a time that is what we experience here.
Even certain jealousy, certain bitterness.
Exactly.
You don't want to acknowledge goodness of another.
Yeah, exactly.
Even the sin against the Holy Spirit. Question of spiritual jealousy. You want to pull the person down. So it must begin there. To be able to acknowledge goodness. Find somebody and say, this man is God. And even begin to acknowledge the grace of God at work. To be able to speak about the person, make him known. That's where the process should begin.
Yeah.
So it's called bitterness, conflict every time we pull him down. And I don't think this is the environment that promotes
there's a lot of
sense.
There is a lot of things we still need to do, because even as children we used to sing a song which I never understood the implication. When we were children, we play you see, and this thing enters into our psyche, so that you don't, if you see somebody progressing, instead of thanking God for him, seeing what to do to and it is about putting the person down. So we need really to begin to appreciate what we have, begin to talk positive about them, begin to promote our own, and that is this is where the Europeans are far better than us. There are areas where we are better, but in this area, they are better than us. So that once they see one of their own, wow, they begin to talk about it. And so that is an area we still need a lot to do, to learn about many people. There are many saints, there are many holy men and women among us, but we need to be interested in what they do. We need to talk about them. We need to project them. And we need to invest our time and energy, like I said before, it could take a group of people coming together and forming themselves into a group and going to the bishop, talking about a person. That's how it begins. That's how it begins. So we need to begin to appreciate our own. Let me tell this story again. I happened to be among a group that went on pilgrimage to Rome, and we came to this dicastery for the canonization of saints. I remember what the cardinal told us. He said, there are many saints in the world. Some of these saints he called international personalities, so that once you mention their name, everybody knows them. He mentioned that time John Paul II, because at the time John Paul II was not yet canonized. He mentioned also Mother Teresa. But he said there are local saints. He called them champions. There are local champions who are champions in their different localities. But we cannot stay here in Rome to know these champions. So it is the people around, the neighbors and the people where this person is champion, that we begin to project and promote and make us who are Rome to know about them. If they don't make effort, if they don't pray, if they don't show how this person has lived this life of holiness, we cannot know. He said, so it is the locality that have to project and promote and show how the life of these local champions have influenced them. And then we begin to get interested. So it is about the locals projecting their own and promoting their own.
So there are local champions.
There are many of them.
So there are widows, there are married people, there are
children,
artisans here and there who are holy.
Exactly.
Now, what the video we uploaded on Servant of God, Aaron Ekwu, one of the comments said that the church should look for laity to canonize. The canonization is not just for clergy and religious. What do you say about that?
It is true.
Because if there are champions, definitely the lay people, they have a lot of lay people, they are 99% what make the Church of Christ.
Yeah.
So the clergy and religious are only 1%.
Yeah, I think I want to use the word maturity. Maturity. The more we mature as a church, maybe what I mean by maturity is the more we realize, the lay people realize that the church is not only the church of the priests or the church of the bishop or the church of the pope. The church, the lay people are true members of this church, and they need also to be more active to begin also to champion the cause. That's why it is stated that it is anybody can be a petitioner. That means anybody or any group of people can initiate this process.
In other words, CMO, CWO, Mary League, and so on and so forth.
Exactly. The
Knights.
They need only to come together, get their thoughts very clear, what they want to say, and go to the bishop. That's how it begins. So, but if you don't do it and you are waiting one day for Pope to say, oh, I declare this person a saint, it is not possible.
Maybe Oka Father instead at work.
I think it is part of it is part of the problem in our own area.
Yeah, St. Paul addressed members of his community saints. Saints. So that also relates to what we are talking about. That there are saints in the body of Christ. How should we really emphasize on this?
Yeah, maybe
especially that saints are not just when you are in the church on Sunday, but that we are all called to holiness, and this holiness, is to be expressed in our lives, in the family, in the marketplace, and wherever. So that we are saints.
At baptism, the seed of sainthood is sown in each and every Christian baptized. Even if not, but there are different types of baptism, so that it must not be with water baptism. But at baptism, the seed of sainthood is sown in each, and that's why parents take responsibility of training this child to mature, so that this fruit that is now sown in him will germinate, grow, and begin to bear fruit. And that's this is the way I like to see it, because if you take an orange, for instance, and you put it on the ground, the moment it grows, you begin to talk of this orange. That's orange, even though it has not begun to bear fruits. So we who are baptized, in virtue of the fact that we are united, baptism makes us a member of the church and makes us get united, forgives us of our sins. So we have already the seed of sainthood in us. It requires then, helping us to grow. I think in that sense, that's what St. Paul means, that we are saints. But it does not mean that we have reached the fullness of the sainthood, because this fullness of sainthood will be reached only in heaven through the grace of God. But we carry with it. But we need to fan this seed into flame, like St. Paul also said. We need to fan it into flame by the way we live our life, by our life of prayer, emulating the saints, being charitable to one another, learning all these virtues, making effort to keep the commandments, living it not just in the church, but everywhere, the way I relate with my friend, the way I relate with my neighbor, with whom I have boundary. Because sometimes some of these things, you come into the church and become so holy, but as soon as you leave the church, begin to quarrel. So it is the way we relate with one another showing love, respecting one another, caring for one another, admiring, helping one another when one is in need. That is what this sainthood is all about. With the hope that one day, I will enjoy the fullness of this whole beatification. So, sainthood is what is lived every day and everywhere.
Yes, sainthood is lived every day and everywhere. This calls for beatification, of which you are the postulator of a servant of God, Ekwu. Is it free? What is the cost implication?
The truth is that this cause for beatification requires a lot of finance, a lot of because under normal circumstances, all these agents, postulator, tribunal, these people are supposed to be remunerated, to encourage them to do the work. And it gets even more serious when it comes to the next stage, the Roman stage, whereby you have to appoint a postulator that has to live in Rome, and he has to be paid, and he's not going to be paid in Naira. And this payment, in their standard. So it requires a lot of money, a lot of printing, a lot of writing, a lot of archival. If you hire somebody to work on archive to make translation, you must pay the person. So it involves a lot of finance, and that is an area where people don't realize, have not really begun to be conscious of. It involves a lot of money.
And even when a miracle is wrought,
exactly,
to get a scientist who eventually verify the authenticity, then to report.
You know what I told you when we went to the dicastery? He said when a miracle is recorded for, especially on the process of making a saint, he said it requires time, but not only time. Sometimes you have to invite experts, and these
even those who are not Catholics.
Experts, they must not all live in Rome. You can invite an expert from America. You can invite an expert from India. You can invite another one from China, and then they all must agree when they have time to come for the investigation. And if you invite them, you are not inviting them for free. They have to be remunerated. They have to be paid. So that's and this expert must not be Catholic. It's a person that is specialized in this area when it is a medicine. You have to get expert, and you know what it means to pay them. Yeah. So it involves a lot of finance.
Are you saying that the process may be stalled due to lack of funds?
Of course. Of course.
And if that is so, well, the issue, I believe, is that a saint must not be canonized.
Certainly.
A saint is canonized because people need the saint.
Yeah.
Because people have found that the saint, the model of life, if you see the need, you are ready to fund it.
Yeah.
Because you've realized how important this is in your life. So, in other words, it's a call that we take up.
Exactly.
The cost.
Yeah.
And be able to fund it because it's our own. Because Father Ekwu definitely brings a lot into our life. Makes us better human, better Christians, and even we have now a mediator that can intercede for us in heaven.
Exactly. Yeah. We hope that people will really begin to, but it will require explanation because that's why I talked of maturity. As we grow and mature and become more conscious of our responsibility, especially the lay people, that here we need to do more. Here we need to spend. There are many people who come into a guest house at one moment and they just eat 100,000, but they can invest this money in some other thing that has more meaning. But it all depends on what makes meaning for an individual. People. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
We wish you a wonderful experience and God's blessing in this work.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.